To LegendCast. My name is Brian Krogsgaard, here with Josh Olswich. Hey, Josh.
Mr. Brian, I've got visions of sugar plum turkey in my head for next week.
Sugar plum turkey.
Yeah, that's a play on sugar plum fairy Christmas. Anyway,
I've never had sugar plum turkey.
I've not either, but it's a thing.
Okay. Well, what are you doing this week then? Are you trading?
I hope so. I hope everybody's trading. I mean, trading in the sense that we're paying attention. I don't think people are trading in the sense that they should be actively managing positions in the current chop. But
yeah, I don't know if you saw my tweet the other day, but it was when I think most of the market was up around 5% or so on the day, and I was like, number of times trades I've taken this week, 0. Number of times I've opened TradingView today, 572. That's yeah.
I don't know. I see a lot of people trying to trade this. I just don't know what there is to necessarily do up here. If you're focused on the majors, are you really massaging your sold position between 50 and 60, or AVAX from 18 to 24, or Link from 13 to 16? Like, is that really where we're at? I just feel like the moves sort of happened, and now we're just waiting for consolidation. We're waiting for
holding pattern,
news catalyst. Yeah. I mean, some people can manage that effectively and trade that and do well. I don't even bother. It's just like, why? I don't know.
Question is, will other stuff move in the meantime? So far, it seems like, yes, they will move down. You see Link there. That's 15 to 13. That's a pretty big retrace off the top. And Bitcoin didn't move down that much. But yeah, I feel like altcoins outpaced Bitcoin by a lot, and now they're correcting by much more.
Yeah, which is normally what you see. They have worse liquidity. They have FOMO people at the top and the bottom. And, that's just what happens with altcoins. But it doesn't feel like an environment to me that there's risk reward here on most anything, the way I like trading. So I'm just kind of letting it do its thing, Yeah. But we are seeing, like, Link clearly didn't look happy last night, hasn't looked happy for a few days, but it's still at the top of the range breakout. I would much rather wait for Link to come back to like 11, which is like heresy.
Yeah, that sounds painful.
But that looks like where it wants to go. That's where I get engaged and excited and like, okay, yeah, this is a tradable thing now. Like, it's washed out all the funding, all the late longers, all the 50x leverage idiots, right? Like, love it. That's where I want to be. But up here, it's just
Josh.
Yeah,
I got to give a shout out. Good username alert.
Okay.
Speaking of alert, their username is Posture Check Alert. They say Link is never happy. Just FYI. I said Link is not happy. They said Link is never happy. But it's a good point. And yes, that consolidation may very well be healthy, but for the people that were screenshotting their portfolio at $15 and $16 Link would be tearing their eyeballs out at 11. Like, don't send them back to that pain, Josh. Don't send them back.
Well, the crazy part is, like, I think Link does fine. I think it goes to 30 over the next year, but people are going to be over trading this, trying to get squeezing blood from a stone and like chopped up, and just like, why? What are you doing? Like, I thank you as a market participant who is taking the opposite side of that position, right? I'm waiting for you to get chopped up to 11, capitulate so that I can get back in. But why? What are you doing? What are we doing here, guys? Like,
yeah.
But that makes the market, right? Different strokes for different folks.
It does. All right, I have a question, and I titled it in the show, How to Talk to Family Over the Holidays About Crypto. First of all, are they going to ask, or are we going to be like sitting there like, hey guys, when are y'all going to ask me about my bags? My bags are up. I hope you'll ask me again, because last year all you did is complain and make fun of me and tell me how I'm an idiot. I want you to ask me again. Are they going to ask, or are they going to not care?
Well, what I told people last year is if it goes any lower, just buy more and keep buying and don't stop buying. That's what I told people last year.
And then so you're going to get to gloat.
I don't say anything. I let them, at this point, I talk about crypto all day long with everybody, so I don't need to discuss it with my family.
You don't want to remind them that you're up 100% off the bottom, and that you told them to buy the bottom.
I don't care. Honestly, they come to me. They know what I do. So
Dom says, all you got to say is, we're so back. I need stories. Homework for the chat. I need stories next week, or the week after next. We ain't recording next Friday. Just go ahead and book that.
I think if you've been around for multiple cycles at this point, like, what does it even matter? Like, if you're still here after 3 cycles,
they know you're crazy.
Yeah, like, they know that what I do is not typical or whatever, right? Like, they know basics, and they know more about Bitcoin than most people, but yeah, they know it's very strange, and it's a weird world that we live in.
Yeah, I met somebody today, Josh, today, who started their business funding it by buying 1 Bitcoin when it was cheap and then selling it, apparently at a high enough price to begin their business.
Love it. Love those stories.
I gave him a big smile, and I didn't say a word about what I do in crypto. It was awesome. Didn't have to talk.
Yeah, me personally, I never tell anybody unless they ask me directly, like, what I do. Even when they ask me, I just say, like, I'm a financial analyst or something. Like, I don't even bother because I don't want to get into it.
Yeah.
But if they really pry and ask, then sure, yeah, we'll talk about it. I don't have a problem with it. I don't ever like flex on people or anything. What's the point? I know a lot of people enjoy that, but
right now, very few people would consider working crypto to be a flex. Like, they'd be like, "Ooh, how's that going?"
Yeah, until we start seeing the headline about everybody's getting rich and you're not, we still have a ways to go in this run for sure. People still assume that we're dead. Like, we're still getting media articles that it's all over, failed experiment type stuff, classic. Meanwhile, we're up 130% on Bitcoin on the year. There's alts that are up like 5,000% on the year. I think Rune is up 5,000% on the year. Just stupid.
No, not 5,500.
Is it 500? There's something I looked at yesterday.
Yeah, Rune was like at $1, and it went to like $6.
So look, the prices have done well. Fundamentals are on a lot of this stuff, but we're getting there. We're slowly, hopefully, weeding out the chaff. Even though I still see people on Twitter pumping Shiba Inu, Doge, Sonic 420, whatever coin.
Yeah.
But we look good. Things look good. My focus is not
this chart. I like this chart. I don't even care if we close the week right here. It looks fine.
Yeah, but Bitcoin looks great. ETH, I still think, is primed for 3K eventually.
You can just keep it at 4K. Did I misspeak?
It's got to break. It's got to hold 2K first. So let's start there. ETH has had trouble just existing, at this price.
Yeah, it does look like it wants to become further range bound, which would be not good, especially while Bitcoin's uptrend is so clear. Maybe BTC does see a little more pain here. Maybe.
Here's a good question.
Ooh, look at that weekly rejection off the 200 moving average. That's interesting.
Look, I hate to break it to ETH BTC people, but it's going lower. It's going much lower.
What's your target?
EBTC 036, I think, is the level.
Whew.
That's where I would want to rotate out of Bitcoin. If it doesn't hit that level, it's not for me. Okay, it's like right. Bitcoin here right now. I want 32. Like, I don't actually want 32, but that's where I want to get back into the market at 32. Like, if I have,
you mean back into the market with a full position,
right? With like a leveraged, sized, whatever, blah 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 position. Obviously, I'm holding spot and things like that. But up here, what is there to do, right? I feel this way for everything. Sol, Link, AVAX. You can go down the list. What were we just talking about? The What are we just talking about?
Talking family.
No. The coin we were just talking about. Oh, ETHBTC. Sorry.
Oh.
Yeah, ETHBTC. Just it has no strength. It had an announcement, something about some ETF S1, blah blah blah.
Yeah, it's
No movement.
Retrace that completely.
Doesn't even matter, right?
Yeah, I will agree. The chart looks very bad.
The technicals have continuously been bearish.
The fundamentals have worsened.
There's no technical evidence here, in my opinion, to want to buy this. Zero. Maybe you argue it's holding the 200 week, it's holding a pivot, but what is there about this chart? You know, it's at the July support, June 22. I don't know. It's an M double top. It's bearish on the cloud. It's about to lose any support it ever had. Like, and that's good. I want to see people flushed out. Unfortunately, that's just how it is, right? No free rides. ETH has lagged a lot. It's lagged all the majors. I think ETHUSD does fine eventually, but it's going to lag Bitcoin. That's just the way it is. Sorry, folks.
Yeah. No, I think that's fair. I think everything points towards that, and I got no beef with it. Can we jump a little bit before we go down the altcoin wagon? Can we jump to macro-y stuff a little bit, because we actually have a serious event here. This is a big move in the dollar. Dixie is down on the week considerably from a technical perspective, but also just open to close, it's almost 2%, and just like slamming the close too, not to mention. Could we be seeing the next leg down here? Could we be going sub 100 on this leg?
Yeah, so it was already leaning bearish with some sort of triple top. You know, I see this pattern up here as a head and shoulders. Peter Brandt called it a king's castle. So whatever.
King's castle.
You know, kind of like that, like bat, where the shoulders are higher than the head. Anyway, it was bearish. It rolled over. The cloud says down 103 at least. It rolled over because of the CPI print, which was lower than expected, which says the Fed is probably definitely done now. So that certainly helped the dollar roll over on a fundamental basis. But yeah, it looks pretty angry, you know?
Oh, it does. It looks bad to me.
It's lining up for a move from 103 to 100 in Q1 of next year, potentially.
Yeah, it may not be like a straight meltdown,
right?
But it does look like it's gearing up for a further continued downtrend.
Right. We are transitioning here through the potential reversal phase, right?
And would that be bullish for our coins?
It should be. It should be very bullish for our coins for sure. It should provide a tailwind for everything, right?
Yeah, I think if you go to the higher time frames, like if you go to a monthly chart here that I just pulled up, I think you could even make a case that if it loses that 100 territory, let me see if I have this on my chart. No, I just got a bunch of lines. But if it loses that 100 territory, you could even get sub 90 with enough patience.
Sub 90?
Yeah.
I mean, that would
be looking at the monthly.
If we are sub 90 on the DXY, we are at 250K BTC. Like, that would be phenomenal. I'll take it, right? Look, all this stuff is aligning. Maybe we get a global recession. Maybe everything melts down. Maybe we get QE. Maybe they give us more stimmies. Maybe we get an ETF. You know, all this stuff is all happening in 2024. We're definitely going to have a crazy election. Like, the election cycle is going to be absolutely wild for sure. No doubt about it.
I think you could say it's like a double top type formation after a move from mid 2021.
On the monthly?
Mm-hmm. A low or high, but
It looks like 100 is the level, and then we'll see.
89.
But if we dip to sub 90, man, that would be epic if we go down that level. I mean, that's historically how we've gotten our bull runs, though, right? In
Yeah.
crypto, we've
Yeah.
relative to having all the moves that have been positive have been from 100 to 90. So if we get a move from 100 to 90 post
Run
halving,
it
post halving ETFs, like what else do we want as far as the setup on a fundamental structural basis, right?
Yeah. We got 2 questions. Both of them might have been from Marius, but 2 that I want to answer. One is, am I all in on my beard?
You are all in. I don't know if your beard's all in.
That's good. The beard is definitely not all in, but I am all in for 2 more weeks. Like I said, my kids wanted me to do No Shave November, and now I'm teaching them what commitment looks like because they don't like it anymore. So that's the answer to that. The more important question was up above somewhere. Josh, do you still like the ETH trade?
Yeah, I saw that question too. I do still really like that trade, and we can.
My question is why? Because I'm not as pumped about it anymore.
I'm trying to find a place I can doodle on.
Well, I'm just going
On
to show
my
you
screen.
this chart for now.
Yeah.
So the discount is 14%, and the price is $16. It's had an incredible year. Like the low, December 2022 was at 473, 47, something like that. It's up a lot. I've enjoyed a lot of this move at different times, but I think the majority of the discount squeeze. And I'm less convicted in this trade now, although I do, to your point, what you're about to show, the chart, the pure ETH chart and the some of this stuff looks good. It's just I think we're getting closer to the fair discount. That's my only reason for not being in love with it anymore.
Okay. So I like if you look at ETH BTC as ETH GBTC, I like this structure way more than ETH BTC, right? I mean, this to me looks like it has a chance at the very least. You're right in pointing out the discounts have.
That's what your bottom indicator is, the red and the white.
Yeah, so the white is GBTC and the red is ETH.
Yeah, so ETH's discount has basically caught up to GBTC's,
Yeah.
which is highly indicative of the ETF odds as well, I think. And both of them have normalized to this kind of 14, 15% zone, which is pretty typical for a structured product where you might normally have 8 to 10% discounts on a structured product like this. A structured product being a product that bundles other products. Security that bundles other crap.
Closed-end fund.
Yeah.
So I like the setup. Do I like it enough to like be heavily in ETH over GBTC? Not yet. But I do like the ETH chart as well.
Just by itself.
Just by itself. I think there's a unfilled gap here as well. So there's an unfilled gap at 19. On the weekly cloud, it looked like it had if I can find the right cloud, it had a bigger upside to 26. Assuming GBTC stops at its cloud target, which it probably won't at this point if we actually get an announcement.
What a great edge-to-edge trade that was.
Yeah, seriously. The GBTC cloud is pretty much done as a trade, the edge-to-edge move. The question now is how is price going to react to the announcement, right?
Yeah. Even if it goes up, though, it'll probably come bounce off that ceiling on the retest.
Right.
I think you could enter. Yeah. What's that price? What's that price right there? Because if you want to do GBTC, like once it breaks through that, I just set bids at 32 and forget about it.
Well, I would love to rotate out of GBTC at 37 and rotate into ETH, depending on how it looks on the day.
Right.
To catch the remainder of that edge to edge on ETH.
We're being asked about the Solana Grayscale Trust. Is this the one that's like at a billion% premium?
It is. I forget the ticker. What is the ticker? Sol G, maybe? GSOL. Maybe it's GSOL.
GSOL.
Yeah, it is. So these other smaller trusts that aren't Bitcoin or ETH are super tiny.
Yeah.
And they're illiquid and they do have a massive premium.
Don't do these. Don't play
so
these.
I wouldn't touch these at this point.
That went from $8 to $100.
Correct.
Okay, there's no logic. There's no logic on that.
There's the non-log. It actually wicked to 202. Okay, and I think this is people just looking for exposure, not understanding what's going on
here. Do we know what dollar volume was included in that type of? Is this like $7, or are people actually making real money and there's just also stupidity included?
I mean, look at the volume.
Oh, I can't see it. You got to move it.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah, that's not a real product.
No, you had people saying like the spot price is going to close to the Grayscale price. Like, no.
You have billions of dollars on one side and tens of dollars on the other side.
Yeah. So don't trade this. It had a 600% premium. It's down to a 300% premium. Filecoin Trust had a 400% premium. It's down to a 600%. Or sorry, Filecoin had 1,000% premium. It's down to 600. Just don't look at the AUM of this stuff, right? It's nothing.
$500,000 total.
That's total AUM.
Yeah.
So anything out of GBTC and ETH, you're just playing with fire to get burned for sure.
Yeah.
And then look at the lack of discount closing on ETC. Okay.
That's actually kind of incredible.
This thing is the biggest pile of junk.
ETC is a good candidate for getting an ETF filing from somebody.
Is it? Why would they approve that?
Because once you start, like anything that you like, they're going to approve all of them. They're going to approve tons of them. There's going to be Bcash and Zcash and ETC, and I think all the old coins first, honestly, because the ones that don't have these like active securities issues.
I mean, the absolute, what kind of trade would that be? What would you call that trade?
You saw the fake filing for XRP, the Delaware.
Yeah, they're not. Sorry, that's never going to happen. Not while I'm alive. The Dark Horse ETF filing is ETC. No, I haven't looked at this chart in a long time. It doesn't look horrible. This is the classic example of like a zombie token that can not just exist, but still have a big market cap, but also be irrelevant all at the same time. Yeah, which is exactly why I can't touch this. Even if this 10x is from here, I don't care. Let it do its thing. It's not for me.
This makes me want to market buy, but I know it's dumb.
No, please, if you're listening, just don't.
But Josh, it's Ethereum Classic. Think of the miners. Where are they going to? Oh, wait. No, they would have already gone. We're already proof of stake.
Yeah, remember that narrative? I can't even pull up
Remember that narrative?
The Grayscale
Look at all the new interest and excitement and stuff. Yeah.
So the point is, look, ETH maybe eventually, like months from now. BTC most likely, definitely soonish.
I own ETH right now and it's been a great trade. You don't have to just do it months from now. It's good right now.
No, I just mean the setup relative to the
relative
ETFs.
Yeah, gotcha.
But yeah, I like ETH as a trade. Is it going to outperform anything? I don't know, but the setup is there, Mm-hmm. And the other GBTC trade worked out great.
Yep.
So I like it. I still like it.
I understand all that logic. I'm looking at it almost strictly from a forget the chart, just look at the discount. And from that perspective, there's not enough juice in it to like say, I'm going to do this right now, nice and fresh, like,
I think
yeah, if
that's
you're in the trade, holding it is okay. But what are you going to get? Like a 8% discount? You got another 5-6% on the discount squeeze?
completely fair. And we'll see what happens on the day when the BlackRock stuff gets approved. Maybe this doesn't move at all. Maybe this goes down. I don't know. It wouldn't
Yeah,
make sense if it did, but maybe it does.
lots of things that don't make sense that happen. All right. What else do you like?
So I think a lot of this, I see a lot of people talking about, like, let's go to Sol for a second. Talking about this weekly edge to edge, right? And yeah, I like 140, but I think people are looking at this today expecting it tomorrow. It's like, no, like this is going to take some time, like let this thing consolidate. The risk reward up here for 140 is worse than it was at 30, obviously. So, let it consolidate and or come down, but it's probably not going to go straight to 140. So
I don't know, man.
I like this setup. I like this trade. Eventually,
Have you seen Wi-Fi lately? I looked at this and looked at it. Everybody knows I was interested in Boomer DeFi. I was staring at it at 5,000 down here at this line. I was like, ugh. And then boom, 2 weeks later, triples. Some of these moves happen fast. Now there's a lot less liquidity on Wi-Fi than there is on Solana, but what a chart. I mean, you would have bet that's going to get slammed down from 9K, right?
yeah. Well, the funny thing is, people talk about unit bias, which just means you can buy 10,000 Doge versus 0.001 BTC or something. And Wi-Fi seems to not have that problem. I don't know if it's because it's illiquid and mostly whales playing Wi-Fi. Historically, that's what it's been.
Well, Alex from Nansen posted a screenshot of Nansen saying smart money was buying Wi-Fi, and it's like 25%. I don't know if it was before or after, but it was. I just know I was sad I didn't hold it.
It's got volume. I don't know why it exists. I've always loved the protocol. It's the same song and dance for any DeFi coin for me. I don't know. They're burning the token, so it's going up. Okay. I just, yeah, it's a trade. It had an Adam and Eve at the bottom. I don't know. Yeah, looks good. I don't think there's anything else to say, really. I think it's overheated up here for sure. But
I was just pointing out that Sol could go straight to 140, even though it's less liquid than this. But
well, imagine if we get that ETF announcement and Sol outperforms on the day, right? Like if you want to talk about weird stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, sure, maybe.
I think there's some resistance for Solana around 78 that could prevent that next move. It's basically the 2022 level over there, horizontal right there on that weekly. Kind of looks like it also is close to one of those pivots that it already bounced off of, but I don't know. That's another area where I would be looking for potential rejection.
I just think we need to calm down a little bit. 5 weeks, 200%.
Yeah, just remember, $50 was the moon for Solana not long ago, very recently, a month ago.
That's fair. I just think setting expectations appropriately.
I know, that's my point. Now we're saying that $50 would be devastating, but
I don't think
so. I know, but the people
plebs, go ahead. You can say it. We're all friends here, right?
They're refreshing their portfolios consistently, and they can't imagine it going down for even a moment.
These are the people you need to fuel the rally. Okay, the rally is bathed in blood of the lesser knowledged individuals who have no idea what they're doing. Unfortunately, that's how it works.
Things happen moving big time. I mean, Thorchain's another one that's just gone absolutely nuts. Even from its breakout at $2, it's tripled, but it's up 6x on, I don't know, a 2-month time frame.
Yeah, that a lot of these charts have just blasted off. There's divergences and there's there's plenty of reasons why this stuff technically needs to relax, not just like me saying I'm sick of seeing up
Not
only.
just
Like
not
there
just
are
Auntie
other
Josh.
reasons. There are other reasons, you know. It
Yeah.
also, it's pre-halving, alts do better post Bitcoin halving typically. Liquidity is good but not great generally. You know, if we're talking about where is it? If we're talking about Tether prints, this one,
Yeah.
like there has been a decent amount of injection of Tether into the ecosystem,
Yeah. I
but
saw a $1 billion print the other day.
is it enough to justify the moves we're seeing? I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know either, but I do think the liquidity is a big part of this. Like, hey, why is that thing going up? And it's because that thing got a narrative, and that thing had lost a lot of its previous liquidity, and now can move quite quickly when the narrative changes. And I think that's what can fuel a Wi-Fi or a Rune or some of these like mid cap alts to just go bananas because they get some narrative or some buying trend or whatever, and there's not a lot of activity on the liquidity side to make those books or whatever, and all of a sudden it's like bam, off they go.
Well, AVAX was lagging. It
broke out bigly.
Eventually broke out, eventually had a move, and then it had some nonsense Onyx news piece, whatever. I don't think that played a role in what happened here, but we had talked about a lot of these charts had this W.
I ain't buying that. Like, not now.
No, not now, but no, we had talked about.
Yeah,
like,
we talked about that.
There were like what 50 alts probably that had a W at the bottom.
Yeah.
And like I said, if you think your alt's the alt, just buy and hold and wait for something to happen, because those are the conditions. The table is set for something to happen. So I don't think this is the market like all of a sudden finding a narrative for AVAX. It's just like people are bored, people are rotating money, liquidity's not great. Yeah, I think this needs to retrace pretty significantly. 16 on AVAX, I think would be good.
I've seen this mention. E1M1 has mentioned TIA. I don't know what this is, but
yeah,
I saw Chris Burness.
I was just gonna say.
Yeah, he mentioned it, and that actually made me raise my eyebrows because he's just nailed everything, and I feel dumb because I don't even know what it is. Does it have fundamentals? Is it a thing?
Does it have fundamentals? Let's take a guess. Is anybody using it?
It got listed on Coinbase. Celestia. Oh, TIA is Celestia. Why do people do this? Why do you name a coin? Like, why is your coin named this? Celestia.
It's going past the moon, bro. It's going to the stars.
Okay, so never mind. I know what it is. I know what it is. I didn't connect the two. Oh, what a terrible ticker. I just think thanks in advance. It's a passive aggressive email sign off.
That's a good one.
Thanks in advance.
Kind of boomerish, but yeah. But I don't like, people are asking about this. Like, why are you trading this? Right? Just buy it, hold it. It looks like it's a scam pump, nonsense, crash, garbage, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to hate it. It's going to rally. What is there to do here? You know?
Steve said, obviously anybody can have a show based on my lack of knowledge of Newcoin. Well, obviously anybody can have a show, Steve. Get on here. Get streaming, buddy.
Yes, Steve, where's your show?
Yeah, anybody can stream. You're the one listening. I can't help you.
Where were you 7 years ago, Steve?
The invite, just get your own channel. It's Twitch. It's the internet, man. Anybody can publish on the internet. That is a fact. Good job. You're smart. Thanks for lurking. We do appreciate you. But yes, anybody can have a show. And I don't have to know the name of every new coin that's listed. All right.
Anyway, point is, like, what is there to do here? You know? Can this go to 100? Sure. Can it go to 250? Sure. Like, I don't know. Like, what do you want me to say?
Is there like a SBF $3 comment possible here? Like, do we have those type of characters to make those types of comments about new coins yet?
I have no idea. I just think it's listed. It's new. Doesn't have baggage attached to it. VCs are pumping it.
Yeah.
Who I'm sure got in at cents on the dollar, you know?
Oh, that's what we need to find out. We need to find out what's Chris Burness Brunisk. It's Brunisk, right? What's his cost basis on this one? And he may very well be bullish for a long time, but I'm just curious. I mean, it's easier to buy at 650 if your cost basis is 6 cents.
Yeah. Sure is, ain't it? So yeah, I don't know. What is there to even say? And people ask about the airdrop stuff like ARB. I worry that there's just generally going to be a lot of selling pressure on any airdrop coin. Again, it's DeFi, it's layer 2, it's awesome. I use it. The protocol's great. That doesn't mean the coin needs to do well, right? I think that people need to like disconnect that a little bit.
Josh, are you midwitting? Are you
No, I'm just saying, like,
going
yeah,
good?
I'm not going to deny the power of DeFi and the power of the protocols themselves. It's the coins, the coins don't have to do well because Curve is great, for example, right? Like Curve is a dumpster fire as a token.
You don't have your staked V curve XG 2.03?
No, I
Dude,
don't.
the yield is insane. You should see it.
And hey, maybe
Contract
that's
stacking.
part of the problem. The yields are too good and people are selling. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. Curve's a great product.
Yeah, it's a pillar of DeFi. Undeniably, it is a necessary evil. Some would argue.
How's the token? It's doing a bunch of nothing.
The token, I think, will continuously underperform. Like, I don't see this as an investable chart.
Yeah,
I just don't. And I think that's most of DeFi. Link got lucky that it's sort of on an island in a use case, from an Oracle perspective, and everybody sort of adopted it.
Welcome to crypto. Go over there to Use Case Island. You're all alone. The mainland over here is lack of use case. Sorry, what were we saying?
No, I just my stance on DeFi tokens hasn't changed since 2020. So
Gotcha.
things that have like some sort of buy and burn or lending mechanic, Aave, SNX, those at least have a pulse because they're connected to the market activity. Even Uniswap, right? Look at Uniswap relative to this other stuff. There's no reason to buy it. Why? What are you doing? You're not getting rewarded. The incentives aren't there. What's the point?
Great product.
Great product. Pillar of DeFi, right? Love it. But unfortunately, disconnected from all that market activity.
All right, let's we did Dixie for a second and then we came back to crypto. We're going to finish the show talking about more legacy stuff because holy cow, chart is a chart is a chart. We've said that before. That chart looks good, doesn't it?
Yeah, it looks great with Dixie dying too.
It's the S&P for our listeners that aren't on the video. Yeah, the S&P just 3 weeks in a row of just furiously running off the lows. Looks like it is tempting all-time highs. I don't understand how that's possible. And therefore, honestly, more and more, I'm wondering if we're just going to do that. If we're just going to go do that. We're going to leave people in the dust and go to all-time highs because there's a lot of sideline money in those markets right now.
There's trillions of sideline money. Trillions.
Yeah, trillions.
People were 100% sure coming into 2023 we were headed for a recession. Okay. Now, including myself, arguably, we are most likely going to see a recession in 2024. And so if people are positioned that way, sort of afraid, naked and afraid.
Goes to new highs. We are in a recession and the market's going to new highs.
Yeah, it's
is that a thing
possible.
that can happen?
Sure, why not? Anything's possible.
I need evidence. I need Ray Dalio's, big market cycles or big debt cycles. Is there a history of this?
It doesn't have to make sense. The yield curve is still inverted. Why not?
Maybe it's the result of the stagflationary recession is the market runs because you still have inflation even though there's a lack of demand, and therefore it prices into the strongest of all companies.
You mean the strongest 6 companies?
Yeah, seriously. Like you think 500 big companies, they must be doing pretty well. This is so top weighted. It's insane.
Yeah, it's the most concentrated I think it's ever been. My Apple, Microsoft, especially.
I mean, Apple's like a nation state. It's like a big nation state.
It is. And so the other thing is you had people celebrating at the bottom again, like the Bears thinking like we finally got one this time, guys.
Yeah. It's just like just up every day.
And the Bears are just doubling down on the bearishness, looking at any data point they can. I get it. I'm in agreement. But the chart's
you
the
and I
chart.
talked about like buying that retrace down.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't do it, and now it's like left me behind. And I'm just like, am I going to buy the breakout to an all-time high or new highs on the year? Like, I don't even know. I feel like I'm still positioned well because I have some beta in my portfolio, but like the part that I have in cash, I kind of like don't like. I don't like that that's in cash because I really do think this might have the potential to run. As weird as that sounds.
Yeah, I didn't buy it either. I got sucked into the bearishness. It's kind of run away from you at this point, so I do think it needs to come back a little bit for me to want to touch this. But man, it looks absolutely insane.
Yeah,
it looks really good. And Microsoft, if I have that somewhere, where is that? No, that's not it. Microsoft at all-time highs, right?
I don't even know. I haven't looked at many individual stocks, but now that I'm going through a couple, I mean, Nvidia is at all-time highs. Amazon's not, but maybe it looks pretty good. Apple's close to all-time highs. I mean, Russell 2000 is up, but still looks like absolute trash. Google is not as strong as some others. Like even amongst the top, it's not. Yeah, Microsoft all-time highs. It's not universal still. Even amongst the top like 8, the big market caps, some of them are still pulling others. Coinbase looks really good to try to tie this into crypto a little bit. I think this is a proper kind of inverted head and shoulders. Looks like it wants to get above this $100 round number bias. Like I think Coinbase could go from 100 to 150, 160. You have 215 on your chart. That's something. That's the kind of trade I'd be willing to go all in on. Not gonna lie.
NGL, JKL. What I said the other day was for Coin, like you may not like the company, as I don't really like the company, but if they're getting the green light on the ETFs, they're going to see inflows from that for fees relative to custody. They're going to see people just generally using it as a proxy for crypto exposure. I don't see how Coin does bad if we have an actual like bullish market broadly for crypto. So I like anything above 150, probably 215 eventually.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a really good legacy setup from a fundamental perspective. The technicals are certainly there. Looks okay. I'm not excited about it. I don't like Coinbase as a business, but what happened to Base, by the way? Remember Base?
I think it's still doing things, but Friendtech is not.
Remember
relevant.
Friendtech? Do you guys remember Friendtech?
Yeah.
I just love how things come on so hot when there's nothing going on, and then they just disappear. Nobody cares.
Yeah, I hope they raised money and secured the bag a little bit. The other macro thing that is continuing is 4th straight down week for 30-year yields. Another strong down week this week. Bond market recovering a little bit.
Well, I think it's recovering because the Fed is done.
Yeah,
that's what the market thinks.
The market is telling us that the market is done.
The problem is that the debt issuance is not done and won't be done for a very long time. And so I think what people need to pay attention to is the reverse repo, something I keep talking about this week. I'm the last person to explain this, but you can think of it as inert overnight cash that is outside of the ecosystem that is earning a yield at the Fed. It was at over 2 trillion. It is now below 1 trillion.
So the Fed has to pay that yield, is what you're saying.
Right. There's a yield component to this. Before rates went up, this was the best place to park super short-term yield. Now that we have high short-term yields on treasuries, you're seeing money rotate out of the reverse repo into those treasuries. So this is, in a way, a liquidity injection because it isn't stripping money out of risk, right? We're not seeing yields go higher. We're not seeing, arguably, right? If we're issuing debt and no one's there to buy it, yields go higher, right? But the reverse repo is sort of stopgap in a way because it's absorbing all that debt. Once this runs out, what happens?
What do you mean runs out?
So the reverse
So
repo,
is there infinite supply of this, and this is just how much the Fed is willing to accept?
it's like Luna. No,
No, because you say you have the thing amount accepted, so like that's what's checked there. The
That's
amount
just-
that's been accepted in the reverse repo. So do they limit the amount accepted?
no.
Okay, so this is
just,
a demand factor.
right. It's literally overnight yield.
Gotcha.
Even Tether participates in this a little bit. But the point is, now that we have short-term yields that are at 5%, you don't need to go to the reverse repo. You can just get the treasuries, right? So
I see.
a lot of the money market cash or like the spare bank cash, it was with the reverse repo.
I gotcha. Now it's just out there happily earning 4.5%, 5%. If you're one of those people that wants to lock in and you're just like, I want to secure this for 30 years. I don't want to be variable to what it maintains in a money market. I'm not going to lie. This is a pretty good time to lock in. Like everything's still really high, but it looks very topped. And the indication is that it's topped. So if you're going to lock for 5%, 4.6, whatever, like it's a good time to do it.
Well, people certainly hope so, based on the volume on TLT.
I had a great trade on leveraged TLT, and I closed it the day Bitcoin dropped like 5%, and then I rode Bitto or whatever up, and now I'm wondering, like, do I buy consolidation on this? Like, trying to do some short-term trades on this tax-protected account. And yeah, I still love this trade, but I did close my position temporarily. I made like 20-something% on it in 2x leverage, which is pretty awesome. It's ridiculous. Like it moved fast.
Well, the problem isn't this quarter. The problem is like the successive next year quarters. They already announced that as opposed to sticking to a fixed percentage for short-term, long-term debt, they're issuing more in the short end. And again, the reverse repo is absorbing that. But if they change that, then what happens to TLT? If reverse repo runs out, what happens to TLT? What happens to the TLT or the long end when the Fed inevitably starts easing? A lot of open questions still, but I think it's a premature celebration. I like TLT to 93 based on technicals, but the fundamentals of the debt issuance is an issue.
I'm still bullish bonds, but I think that on the whole, these periods of like fast moves will not be constant. I don't think it's going to Eiffel Tower down.
We'll see. There's a lot of people paying attention to this. Literally any news event, right? The quarterly refunding announcement, the debt issuance, the auctions, right? So if there's like a bad auction, all of a sudden, that's going to push this down. If the Fed has to step in with yield curve control, that's the end game. That's going to be an issue as well. So,
yeah, I kind of feel like the best way for authorities to use this would be accept that spike as a return to some kind of normalization, and then just try to taper really slowly, so that if you have to do something aggressive, you have time. So ideally, it doesn't tank because then that means you had to cut rates really, really quickly and kind of use your dry powder very quickly as a lever puller.
Yeah. I don't know. I just think they're in trouble. We're all in trouble. That's why we Bitcoin, you know. Look, they're going to keep issuing debt, printing money. It's just math. They don't want to stop spending. We keep funding forever wars in every country. Yeah, I don't know what else to say, you know.
I think we should leave it there because
we're getting just assaulted in the chat for not knowing
what Celestia
what the fundamentals.
Is. I'm so sorry.
We can
win and we can lose, and we'll be okay.
We have absolutely just misrepresented this new coin with no activity today, and I am just so sorry to the community, to everyone involved. You know,
yeah,
I just care that much about these fundamentals of these shit coins.
Well,
I hope it goes to 6,000 without me. How about that? Is that better? Is that better, guys?
Listen, I'm gonna go to my Coinbase Earn app and buy $5 worth of it so that I can be along for the ride with you.
Just some self-flagellation.
Yeah. All right. Bitcoin looks good, still looks good. We never talked about how to talk to your family about crypto, but we did question whether or not they would. I don't have great advice for how to do that. I just say we're still probably in DCA mode, maybe. Maybe that's it. I don't know. I got to think about this. Chat, tell us how you would do it. Tell us in the comments. Like and subscribe. It's great to see you. Talk to you later. Follow Josh at Carpe Noctem on Twitter and on YouTube. He's always posting good content. I hope everybody has a great holiday. Everybody's celebrating these fake turkey holidays in America. Take it easy. Bye-bye. In the blink of an eye, the easy river has just run dry. In a house of cards, I feel the breeze wound so tight I can barely breathe. Oh, the chains, oh, the chains.